Ask yourself, how much of your stress, how much of your worry, how much of your unhappiness comes from yourself creating ideas and thoughts about what other people think of you, of how they perceive you. This often relates to the quote that I love: we often suffer in our imagination more than we do in reality. Sometimes our brain makes no sense. It loves to grasp onto outcomes that it is unsure of. It likes to create its own outcomes, its own desired outcomes, right? And when we don't know and we're not in complete control of this outcome, that is where this overthinking and suffering comes from. And it really does us no good. I feel like it's kind of our brain's natural way to, it's kind of like a coping mechanism, being able to understand what's coming next. But in turn, it really ruins our present moment. It even ruins the future moment, because let's say the situation you're thinking about, that you're worrying about, is as bad as you think it seems. You might as well just experience it once. When the time comes, experience that bad moment and carry on. But instead, we ruminate over these scenarios that most of the time never become true. And we often kind of almost manifest a worse outcome because of how we're just overthinking. When we're in this situation, now our energy will kind of reflect that anxiousness, that nervousness, and that worry that you've been putting into that moment. Your energy will reflect it. So it's not even like these thoughts are protecting us. So really, what are they doing for you? Ask yourself that. What is your overthinking really doing for you? I think it just makes us suffer most of the time. It really does. It really doesn't prepare us for the moment. We don't gain any insights. We just simply overthink it. We just suffer. We're just suffering in imagination more than we have to. I think the best way to break free of this thought process is just to let go of any outcomes. Your desired outcome, let go of that. The worst outcome that you can possibly think about, let go of that. Let go of any outcome possible. Become like Plato. Just be able to adapt and mold to the situations. Because 99.9% of the time, the scenario that we've created in our head really does not become true, good or bad. So I think just letting go, understanding that the control that you desire over your situation, is in turn controlling you. It is keeping you stuck. It is keeping you trapped. It is straying you away from your true intuition. It is straying you away from your true, authentic self. When we're constantly overthinking, our brains just physically can't operate in a natural state. Overthinking about unnecessary things is like the opposite of flow state. Flow state is when your brain is working the most efficiently because it is not overthinking. It is going purely off of muscle memory. But how do we practice this? How do we practice to not let our brains run wild? This is a very broad question and something that I'm still practicing to this day, because learning is a choice, but there is a lot of great advice out there. But applying it is something way different. I think that is kind of the whole journey of life. There's multiple things, but one important thing is always just trying and improving and kind of understanding where you went wrong and trying to improve, right? So How do we slow down our thoughts? How do we get out of this suffering? First, like I said, let go of the outcome. Let go of the outcome, and also when these thoughts come to you, just don't react to them. Don't talk to them. It is a choice at the end of the day. We are not, well, some of us are, but ideally you are not run by your thoughts. You observe your thoughts. You've probably heard this before. You are the observer of your thoughts. I like something that I haven't been able to apply to my life is we cannot control our first thought, but we can always control our second thought. Which means that anyone could put a thought in your head. I could say banana yogurt, and you thought of banana yogurt. You can't control your first thought, but you can control how you react to your second thought. So banana yogurt, you might say, "Oh, I like banana yogurt. Oh, I hate bananas. Oh, I hate yogurt." Actually, strawberry yogurt's my. See, you're interacting with the first thought. And when we suffer in reality, often it is only one thought that leads us to this downward spiral of suffering. And it's normal to kind of get stuck in this cycle because that's kind of our brain's natural way of thinking. But you can really improve this way of detachment is if you kind of cut off that thought process very quickly. When you notice that you're overthinking, just boom, just cut it out. Make the conscious decision to not think of it. And your mind might be quiet for 5 seconds and then another bad thought comes in. Make another conscious decision to not react to that thought. And you do it over and over and over again. You might have 2 seconds of silence. And let's say you might have 40 seconds of silence where these thoughts have no control of you. It is not ruining your present moment. And that is the key. This is a everyday practice. So if there's a thought that you don't like, if there is a thought that is not productive to your life, first become aware of it. Understand that this thought is not your thought. It came from somewhere externally. And that's a whole different conversation about external thoughts. But right now we're just learning how to react to them. And then make the even if you have to say out loud that you are not going to interact with this thought, that you are not going to respond to this thought, do that. These are reps. Just like in working out, I think a lot of stuff can relate to the gym. Just like working out, when you do reps, you can only do 1 rep at a time, right? You go 1 rep, 2 rep, and it's a process. And over the months, over the years, you will be able to do more reps. Just like over time, that gap of silence lengthens. And that silence, where there's no thoughts, is you truly being present. And becoming truly present is very magical. You will learn a lot about yourself. You will learn a lot about God. You will become, all of these thoughts, they really start to slow down. And you really kind of expose this suffering thought process. So this is kind of what I do to, I like to say, end the cycle of suffering. I don't know, cycle of thought suffering, whatever. But that's kind of what I do, and don't get me wrong, I still do sometimes fall into this cycle of overthinking and suffering in my imagination. It is not something that, I don't think the thoughts go away, it's just they have less power on you and they come by less frequently. I think that's what it is. So this is a kind of a lifelong practice that I don't think anyone ever accomplishes, because it's our brain. Our brain has its natural nature, you know. But this is what I do to end that cycle of thought suffering. So thank you for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that. Thank you.